Hello, my name is Stephen Gray. I'm the CEO of the Code Registry. I'm here with Keiran today, one of our engineers. We wanted to put some time together to record some of the common Q&As we get over the hundreds of calls we've had with technical leaders of SaaS companies and other companies where there's a lot of legacy code, about how they use our platform, what problems we can solve, what use cases there are. And because we think there's a lot of value in some of those answers, and we've gone over them over and over again with different calls, we just want to get it all in one place. So over to you, Keiran.
Cool. Before we jump into the main questions, just tell us a bit about use cases that we've identified for CTOs.
Yeah, so it's interesting with technical leaders of companies using our platform. So our platform looks at the code, it finds the problems in the code, things they may or may not be aware of, and it does it really quickly. So CTO who will already have methods and tools for looking at code, we're not going after their job. We're actually trying to save them time to get to the goal quicker. So, for example, when we look at developer productivity, it's the same thing I would have done at a previous role as a CTO. I would have scoured through the GitHub history, the Git commits and so on to find who's been doing what, how productive have they been. We do that, we just do it very quickly. So we work with a lot of technical leaders. One of the big use cases we find is a company that has a lot of legacy code. So we're talking code that goes back 10, 20 years, code that's very rarely looked at. That code can sometimes be very complicated, very old, take a lot of time to look through and find out what dependencies are in there, are there vulnerabilities in that old code, and we can do that very quickly. So we save potentially hours of technical meetings each week on finding out what's in that old code, because there's a lot of old code out there. We're talking trillions of lines of code that's never looked at because it's old and it's dated, but it can still cause problems. So yeah, those are the use cases we're looking at.
Why do so many engineering leaders lack a unified view of their code base?
We find it's because these technical leaders have lots of tools in lots of places. So if I think back to my previous role at a development agency, we could have code sources in all different places. So depending on the client and the project, they may have required us to use Bitbucket, GitLab. We preferred to use GitHub at the time. So you could have different code sources. You could have tools for productivity sat in a different place. You could have security tools sat in a different place. So we bring all that into one place. Like, our platform doesn't care where the code source is. It will just bring it all in and show you in one unified dashboard all of these things we found, including security, productivity, and so on. So it's all of those things in one place, one source of truth, one place to look across all of your projects, and help with client reporting as well from that one place.
How does the Code Registry help validate what tech leaders are telling CTOs?
So it helps. So in me and my previous role as a CTO, it saved me time. We don't want to be a big brother. We basically do the same as what a CTO would do normally to validate what tech leads and developers are saying about what they're doing. But we do it quickly so you can have that real data. So if your tech leads are telling you this guy's working on this and this guy's been really great and so on, we look at that productivity data in a way that's undeniable. So we look at every single change the developer's made across the entire history of the project, across many different projects, so you can quickly see who's actually working on what. Are they doing what they say they're doing? And on top of that, we'll show you what developers are working on code, for example, that has introduced security issues. So you can then use that to have conversations with the tech leads. The tech leads themselves can use the platform to do one-to-one reviews with their devs. So it's about improving quality of life and the speed and the time at which it takes to do these things traditionally.
How does the platform help CTOs communicate with the board more effectively?
So this actually goes to our original use case, or sort of. So when I built this at a dev agency, the goal was to help report to our own executive team, so CEOs and so on, and team leads. That was the first protocol. We wanted to very quickly show them the state of a code project without them having to have a call with us and for us to have to do that report manually. So that was the original use case. So CTOs can use it to show the value their team is creating in an asset, whether the code health is good, whether there's tech debt or not, whether they're increasing the value of an asset in terms of the cost to replicate. And then the CEO can see that. They can include it in a board pack at a board meeting. So it just makes all of that a lot easier. And it's in non-technical language. It's all intended for non-technical business leaders. So it's all done for you like that.
How does the Code Registry help evaluate vendor performance?
Yes, the vendor performance. So if we're outsourcing web development to a team anywhere, do we really know what they're doing? Like, unless you are still in the trenches doing the code all the time, and looking through sort of the Git history and so on, are you really on top of what all the developers at the outsourced company are doing? Do you have the time to do that? And if you are doing it, how much time out of each week or each month does it take you to put those reports together? See who's working on what, who is the name of the actual developers doing the code, and so on. We do all of that very quickly. So we know we have some larger companies using our platform as part of contract negotiations with their vendors, because they can go to those contract negotiations reports with real data that say, okay, this is great, we can see who's working on the code, there's a high number of security issues, there's a lot of technical debt, and they can include that data in the negotiations, make a plan to resolve them, and so on. So it's really helping those people.
How does the platform accelerate M&A readiness?
So we can very quickly get together a report, either from the M&A company or consultant side, where they can send you as a CTO a secure single-use link where you can just set up the project, sync the code, and they see the results. Or you can use it yourself in your role to prepare the report before that stage and send them the PDF output, invite them to the Code Registry to see the results themselves. It does it very quickly, so it could save you potentially weeks of doing these audits yourself, and it just has it there ready to go. And yeah, just very easy to understand.
Why do auditors keep chasing dev teams, and how does TCR stop that?
Because it takes so long. Like, from an auditor's perspective, if there's a timeline and a deadline, they need that information to finish the audit. They will of course be chasing. It's something that they just have to do as part of their job, as annoying as it may be for the developers. It's just part of the role and part of the task. So we would give them a central location, central source of truth, where the auditors can log in themselves. So either it's their account that they've logged in, and you as the CTO sync the code, they can just look at that one place, or you can invite them to your team and say, hey, look at this, we've prepared everything for you, we're forward thinking, we've thought about all that already, here's everything, go and have a look. And that's all they need. So yeah, we could definitely help with that.
How does the Code Registry simplify continuous monitoring of legacy code bases?
So we look at everything. So some like code analysis tools that a developer may use, it may only look at like the code you're working on right now, or the code that's recently been worked on. We look at literally everything, every single line of code that are hidden away, stuff that hasn't been looked at in years. There's one use case I'm thinking of is a customer that so they thought they had 2 or 3 million lines of code. They synced their code, and it turned out they had over 20 million lines of code, which was a surprise for everyone. We got on a call with the technical guy who did the code sync, and he gave us permission to look through the folders of code. And we were like, oh, so what's in that folder? And there was a folder of code that had subfolders and subfiles that had code going back 16 to 20 years. They'd never looked at that code before, but our platform had said, we see the code, and there's issues in there as well. So suddenly you get visibility all of this stuff that's been sat there for potentially years and years, and now needs to be resolved or even removed. Another use case I'm thinking of is a large UK company who outsourced everything. It was a big enterprise in the UK, and they had 5,000 repositories, and across those repositories, we had 16,000 branches within Git. So those are astronomical numbers, and not probably common. And how you deal with that is very complicated. So I think that company had a very small dev team in the UK. So then you had 2 devs in the UK, and everything else was outsourced. So that just sounds very hard to manage to anyone. Like the numbers of repos, the small numbers of tech expertise in the UK, that's very hard to manage. So they used our platform because it would very quickly show them in one place, like how the branch is being used across all of those repos, what's the status of security and health and code quality, without having to spend weeks and weeks on discovery and so on. It's a time-saving exercise in that scenario.
Why are security issues often discovered too late, and how do you fix that?
The main thing we see is the legacy code. So it's a huge thing coming with a lot of old code. It's often not looked at. Maybe it's been live for many years, not caused a problem. It's not been actively worked on, so it's just left alone. It doesn't mean it's safe. Security vulnerabilities can be found in old code, even if it was once safe. New vulnerabilities can be found and introduced. or exploited. I mean, so that's something we do see. Something that we try to help with by looking at every single line, no matter whether it's actively worked on or not. We look at everything. So yeah, that's something we see a lot of.
What patterns do you commonly see in large SaaS companies?
Probably two that come to mind. So the legacy code, which is something that it's a huge thing. So we're talking around the world, trillions of lines of code that's old, dated, probably live, probably serving real customers, but probably not looked at regularly or brought up to speed, checked for security and so on. The other thing is multiple vendors. So if a company has a lot of work going on, they may have multiple software vendors. To them, we're talking about additional risk with the code quality being introduced by those vendors. Are they following the same standards? Are they creating a load of stale work that's not going live? Like it gets harder to manage. So we get to think we see things getting introduced by that as well. Definitely.
How do you help new CTOs get control quickly?
So we've got some real use cases of people who have come into a role. So new CTOs is one of the roles we focus on, because it's someone coming into a role where they're joining a company that has legacy code. They need to quickly get up to speed to show their worth, show how good they are. So we can very quickly show them what the company has, what state it's in, help them then use that data to create like a plan moving forward, at least for the first 6 months or so, of what needs to be fixed to bring this company up to speed. So we can help. One of the people we worked with very early on was a new CTO/CPO who had joined a company with 10, 15, 20-year-old code, and was spending hours every week on discovery calls with the other technical leaders. So what have we got? What dependencies are there? What licenses are there? We show all of that in hours. So you can then spend that time actually resolving the problems and showing your value as a new person in that role. So thanks for listening. If there's anything in this Q&A session that resonate with you in your use case, any pain points you're going through with legacy code, M&A deals, showing value in the work you do as a dev team, helping you understand as a business leader what's going on with your own important code, then get in touch, please. We're on socials. We've got a website to look at, and we'd love to jump on a call, show you a real demo, and show you how you can get value out of what we've built. Thank you.